Keith, somebody looks this way and there's a sideways camera. So I'm going to try it. It's weird. Anyway, a great line from the world of recovery scripture. I'm a child of the recovery spiritual movement, in addition to several others, but there's no doubt that the principles of recovery, that spiritual system, it worked for it worked for this soul, and when nothing else had to that point, that's for sure. But I was somewhat stunned when I came in to the world of recovery 25 years ago, and I realized it was a spiritual program. I had no idea. I thought it was just a bunch of miserable people sitting around struggling and trying to exercise self-will and learning how to manage addiction through misery and personal effort. I had no idea. But but this was after a long history in my own life of a lot of spiritual practices. And I don't discount any of them. They were all important and it's all cumulative in my humble opinion. But I was highly skeptical of the spiritual approach because um, my life had sort of narrowed into a very dark, I had downward spiraled a lot. And the idea that some new spiritual angle or approach was going to work was like, um, it seemed, I was skeptical. I was cynical. I thought, here's one more pie in the sky uh, approach. And I struggled in that place for a good long while. And there was one line in the scripture of recovery that I'll never forget its import on me. It said, when we became alcoholics, crushed by a self-imposed crisis we could no longer postpone or evade, we had to fearlessly face the proposition that God either is or God isn't. God is everything or God is nothing. What's your choice to be? And it laid it out as a choice, not as force, not as coercion, not as convincing, but the free will choice that in my own experience, in my own life, that God either was or wasn't. And of course, I had to parse out the word God and define it differently. I defined it as a overarching, underlying, interpenetrating, loving presence of being that was the absolute ground of being. And, that either is or it isn't. And if it isn't, you know, uh, I can make a good claim for being a lifetime hedonist and just trying to squeeze as much out of my nervous system as I can, get all that I can, compete as hard as I can, and then, it's over because there's no such thing as that overarching, underlying, interpenetrating, loving presence that's the foundation of all things. But as I thought about it and I thought about it, I decided to make that choice for myself that I would lean my soul in the direction that God was rather than isn't. And, the rest has been whatever it's been, which is quite glorious, a real liberation and a real freedom. The reason I bring that up today, the topic is freedom. And if God is, if you believe in a loving, intelligent presence as the foundational essence of the universe, if you think that, then sooner or later, freedom is inevitable. We're all going to get there. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of space time. We're spiritual beings having a material experience locked in almost a prison, you might say, of space and time, and we really deeply forget who we are. But I consider one of the great challenges of life, and you can do with this what you will and tell me what you think, but I think one of the great challenges of life is aggressively participating in remembering who I am as much as possible. And of course, that involves a strong spiritual program. And if you're part of this call, you're probably one of those people who is very interested in remembering who you are, your true destiny, and it's going to take a strong spiritual fitness program to do that. And that's what we're doing together. But irrespective of how much we come out of the muck of space and time in this lifetime, how much we overcome the bondage of self and remember who we are, we can take comfort that freedom is coming. There's no doubt about it. The chicken's going to break the egg open sooner or later. I'm just a big fan of sooner rather than later. I trust you are as well. So be of good cheer. It's good to see you from the sideways angle, and I look forward to meeting with you all tomorrow. Much love. Looney says hi.